Our bromance was perfect until that midnight surprise. Everyone said Kyle and I had the perfect bromance. We'd met during college orientation, bonded over a shared love of terrible action movies and even worse pizza, and had been inseparable ever since. 7 years later, we were still living in the same city, still doing Sunday brunches and Thursday gym sessions, still finishing each other's sentences in that annoying way that made our other friends roll their eyes. We were the guys everyone pointed to when they talked about positive masculinity, comfortable with affection, emotionally available, secure enough to say I love you man without it being weird. We hugged hello and goodbye. We crashed on each other's couches after late nights. We were each other's emergency contacts, best men at hypothetical future weddings, the person you called at 2 a.m. when life got hard. It was perfect, uncomplicated, safe. Until the night it wasn't. It started like any other Thursday. Kyle showed up at my apartment at midnight with a six-pack and the kind of restless energy that meant something was bothering him. I was used to this. Kyle processed emotions through movement and conversation, so late-night visits weren't unusual. Rough day, I asked, letting him in. Something like that? He dropped onto my couch with a heavy sigh, running his hands through his dark blonde hair in that way that always meant he was stressed. You busy? Just finishing some work stuff, give me 5 minutes. Take your time. I wrapped up the email I'd been writing while Kyle channel surfed, settling eventually on some documentary about deep-sea creatures. By the time I joined him on the couch, he'd opened 2 beers and was staring at the screen without really seeing it. What's going on? I asked, taking the beer he offered. Lauren and I broke up. I nearly dropped the bottle. What's when? This morning, well, technically last night, we had dinner, talked about where things were going, and mutually agreed it wasn't working. He took a long drink. It was very civil, very mature, and somehow that makes it worse. Lauren had been Kyle's girlfriend for almost a year, the longest relationship he'd had since I'd known him. She was smart, funny, had her life together. On paper, they were perfect. I'm sorry, man, are you okay? Yeah, no, I don't know. He set down his beer and leaned back against the couch. The thing is, Nate, she wasn't wrong about any of it. She said I was emotionally unavailable, that I kept her at arm's length, that she always felt like she was competing with someone else for my attention. Competing with who? He looked at me then, and something in his expression made my stomach flip. She said I talk about you more than I talk about her, that I prioritize our friendship over our relationship, that she could tell where my real emotional investment was. That's not fair. You can have a close friendship and a relationship, they're different things. Are they? The question hung in the air between us. Kyle turned back to the TV, but I could see the tension in his jaw. She asked me something before she left, asked if I'd ever considered that maybe the reason none of my relationships work out is because I'm already in one, just not the kind I've been admitting to myself. My heart was pounding now. What did you tell her? I told her she was wrong, that you're my best friend, that's all, that she was reading too much into a close friendship. He was quiet for a moment. But after she left, I started thinking about it, really thinking about it, and Nate, I don't know if she was wrong. I should have said something, asked what he meant, made a joke to break the tension, anything. Instead, I sat there frozen, my beer warming in my hand while Kyle continued. I've been doing this thing lately where I notice stuff I shouldn't notice. Like how you look when you first wake up, or the way you laugh at your own jokes before you even tell them. The way you bite your lip when you're concentrating. I notice when you wear that navy sweater I said looked good on you. I notice when you're upset even when you're pretending you're fine. He finally looked at me again. And I notice that when I'm with other people, I'm thinking about when I can see you next. Kyle. I'm in love with you. The words came out rushed, desperate. I think I have been for a while now, maybe always, and I didn't let myself see it because you're my best friend and you're straight and it was impossible. But Lauren made me realize that I've been building my life around you. That you're the person I want to share things with first. That being with you feels more like home than being with anyone else ever has. The room felt too small suddenly, too warm. I stood up, needing space, needing air, needing to think. Say something, Kyle whispered, even if it's just to tell me I've ruined everything. I'm not straight, I heard myself say. Silence, complete, total silence except for the documentary narrator talking about bioluminescence in the deep ocean. What? Kyle's voice was barely audible. I'm not straight, I'm bi. I have been since, I don't know, high school maybe. I've just never really talked about it. I turned to face him, with you or anyone else. Why not? Because it never seemed relevant. I dated women mostly. A few guys in college, but nothing serious, and you were straight, or I thought you were, so what was the point in bringing it up? I sat back down, but on the coffee table facing him, our knees almost touching. Kyle, you're gay. I think so, yeah, I've been figuring it out for the past few months. The past year, maybe, he laughed bitterly. I kept dating women because that's what I was supposed to do, right? That's what everyone expected, and some of them were great, but something was always missing. I thought I just hadn't found the right person yet. But But then I'd come home from dates and immediately text you to hang out. I'd be kissing Lauren and thinking about something funny you'd said earlier. I'd wake up next to her and wish I was on your couch watching bad movies instead. He looked down at his hands. The person I wanted to spend time with, the person who made me feel most like myself, it was always you. My mind was reeling, years of friendship recontextualizing themselves in this new light. How many times had Kyle chosen me over a girlfriend? How many nights had we spent together when he could have been on dates? How natural it felt when we fell asleep during movie marathons, waking up tangled together on the couch. How long have you known, I asked, that you had feelings for me specifically? I don't know exactly when it started, but I knew for sure 3 months ago. Remember when you had that awful flu and I came over to take care of you? I nodded. I'd been miserable, fever chills, couldn't keep food down. Kyle had shown up with soup and medicine and spent the entire weekend making sure I was okay. You were half delirious with fever and you grabbed my hand and said thanks for always being here. And I looked at you, sick and sweaty and definitely gross, and thought I would do this forever, I would take care of you forever. His voice cracked. That's when I knew it wasn't just friendship, when I realized I wanted forever with you. Why didn't you say anything? Because you're my best friend, Nate. What if I told you and you freaked out? What if I ruined the most important relationship in my life because I couldn't keep my feelings in check? He stood up, started packing. Lauren breaking up with me was the catalyst. She forced me to admit what I'd been avoiding. But Nate, I don't expect anything from you. I just couldn't keep lying to you or to myself. I watched him pace, this man I'd known for 7 years, and felt the weight of my own unexamined feelings. The way my day brightened when he texted. The slight jealousy I'd felt with each of his girlfriends that I'd written off as not wanting to lose my best friend to a relationship. The way I was always hyper-aware of where he was in a room, like some part of me was constantly tracking his presence. Kyle, stop packing and sit down. He stopped but didn't sit. I can go. If this is too weird, if you need space, I can. I don't need space, I need you to sit down and listen to me. He sat slowly, perched on the edge of the couch like he might need to run at any moment. I took a breath, trying to organize thoughts I'd never let myself fully form before. When you started dating Lauren, I told myself I was happy for you. You seemed happy, she was great, everything was fine. But I hated it, Kyle. I hated that you had less time for me. I hated watching you be affectionate with her. I hated the idea of you building a life with someone else. Nate. Let me finish. I told myself it was just because you're my best friend and I didn't want to lose you. But best friends are happy when their friends find love. They don't lie awake at night thinking about it. They don't feel physically sick when they see them with someone else. I met his eyes. I was jealous. I've been jealous of every person you've dated, every person who got to hold your hand or kiss you or be the person you went home to. And I never let myself examine why, because if I did, I'd have to admit that what we have isn't just friendship. Not for me. Hope flickered across his face. What are you saying? I'm saying that I think I'm in love with you too, that maybe I have been for years, but I convinced myself it was impossible because you were straight, or because our friendship was too important to risk, or because I was scared. I reached out and took his hand. But Kyle, I don't want to waste any more time being scared, not if there's a chance we could be something more. Are you sure? His grip on my hand tightened. Because Nate, if we do this, everything changes. We can't go back to how things were, and if it doesn't work out, then we figure it out like we figure everything else out together. I stood up, pulling him with me. But Kyle, what if it does work out? What if we're perfect for each other and we've been too scared to see it? He was close now, close enough that I could see the flecks of green in his blue eyes, could feel his breath on my face. I'm terrified, he admitted. Me too. I don't want to lose you. You won't, Kyle, you're not going to lose me. No matter what happens, we'll still be us. Promise. Promise. He kissed me then. It wasn't tentative or questioning, it was certain, like something that had been waiting to happen for years and was finally allowed to exist. His hands came up to cup my face and I wrapped my arms around his waist, pulling him closer. He tasted like beer and possibility, and kissing him felt like coming home. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Wow, Kyle said. Yeah, that was better than I imagined, and I've imagined it a lot. He laughed, resting his forehead against mine. You've imagined kissing me more times than I'm willing to admit right now, though in my defense you're very attractive and I'm only human. Good to know. He kissed me again, softer this time. So what happens now? Now we take it one day at a time. We figure out how to be best friends, and also, whatever this is, we probably make mistakes. We definitely have conversations with our friends because they're going to have questions. So many questions, Kyle agreed. Marcus is going to say he knew all along. He probably did. We're not exactly subtle. True, everyone always said we were too close for just friends. Turns out they were right. I pulled him toward the couch. Come here, let's sit and process this like rational adults. Or we could keep kissing and process later. I like your plan better. We talked until 3 in the morning, curled up together on my couch, alternating between serious conversations about what this meant and giddy makeout sessions like teenagers. Kyle told me about the months of confusion, of wondering if something was wrong with him, of finally accepting that he was gay and that he was in love with his best friend. I told him about the years of pushing down feelings I didn't think I was allowed to have, of watching him date others and pretending it didn't hurt. I wish we'd figured this out sooner, Kyle said at one point, his head on my chest, my fingers running through his hair. Maybe we needed the time to be friends first to build that foundation. Always the optimist. One of us has to be. I kissed the top of his head. Besides, we're here now, that's what matters. He tilted his head to look up at me. I love you, Nate, not just as my best friend, as everything. I love you too, though you're still my best friend. That doesn't change just because I get to kiss you now. So I can still call you at 2 a.m. when I'm having an existential crisis. Absolutely, though now I might respond by coming over and kissing you until you forget what you were worried about. I like this arrangement better. Eventually, Kyle fell asleep on my chest, his breathing deep and even. I stayed awake a while longer, processing everything that had changed in the span of a few hours. Our bromance, the friendship everyone had held up as a model of healthy male bonding, had been something else all along. Something deeper, something that had been building for 7 years until it finally couldn't be contained anymore. The midnight surprise wasn't that Kyle was in love with me. It was that I'd been in love with him too, all this time, just too scared to admit it. Too scared that wanting more would mean losing everything. But I hadn't lost anything, if anything. I'd gained something I'd been searching for without knowing it. The person I wanted to build a life with, who just happened to also be my best friend. I woke up to sunlight streaming through the windows and Kyle still asleep on my chest. He looked peaceful, younger somehow, without the worry lines that had been etched on his face last night. I let myself just watch him for a moment, marveling at how natural this felt, how right. His eyes fluttered open and he smiled when he saw me. Morning. Morning, sleep okay? Best sleep I've had in months. He stretched, then settled back against me. Last night really happened, right? I didn't dream the part where you said you loved me. It really happened. I love you, you love me. We're dating now, I guess. I guess we are, he grinned. Our friends are going to lose their minds. Let them, I don't care. Nate Richards not caring what people think. This is serious. It is serious, you're serious, this is serious. I kissed him because I could now, because this wonderful, terrifying, perfect thing was real. Kyle, I know we said we'd take it slow and figure things out, but I need you to know something. What? This isn't a phase for me. It's not experimentation or curiosity or a response to being single. You're it for me. You've been it for years. I just didn't know it yet. His eyes got shiny. Don't make me cry before breakfast. Too late. Way too late. He kissed me and I tasted salt from tears, his or mine, I wasn't sure. I love you so much and I'm so glad we finally got here. Me too. We made breakfast together in my tiny kitchen, moving around each other like we always had but with new touches, his hand on my waist as he reached past me for the eggs, my kiss on his shoulder as I grabbed the coffee mugs. Everything was familiar and completely different at the same time. So Kyle said as we ate, what do we tell people? The truth, that our bromance was actually a romance all along, we were just too stupid to realize it. They're going to say they knew. Probably, but Kyle, I don't care, let them say whatever they want, I'm just glad we finally figured it out. He reached across the table and took my hand. No more hiding, no more pretending what we feel is just friendship. No more being scared of losing each other by being honest about wanting more. Deal. Marcus did in fact say he knew all along. So did Sarah, Emily, and pretty much everyone else in our friend group. The consensus was that they'd been waiting for us to figure it out for years. You two were never just friends, Marcus said when we told him over drinks a week later. Friends don't look at each other the way you guys do. Friends don't prioritize each other above everyone else. You've been acting like a couple since college, you just weren't sleeping together. Very helpful, Marcus, Kyle said dryly. I'm just saying I'm not surprised. I'm just glad you finally pulled your heads out of your. We get it, I interrupted, but I was smiling. The truth was, everyone's lack of surprise was reassuring. It meant that what Kyle and I had built over 7 years of friendship was visible, real, something other people could see even when we couldn't. It meant we had a foundation of trust and love that could support this new dimension of our relationship. 6 months later, Kyle moved into my apartment. Not because we had to, but because the nights he spent at his own place felt like a waste of time. Why sleep apart when we could fall asleep together, wake up together, build a life together? Remember when I showed up at midnight with beer and bad news? Kyle asked one night as we lay in bed, tangled together in that way that had become our normal. Best midnight surprise of my life. Even though I basically had a breakdown on your couch. Especially because of that, you were brave enough to be vulnerable, to say something even though you were scared. I kissed his forehead. You changed everything that night. We changed everything, he corrected, together. Together, I agreed. Our bromance had been perfect, everyone said so. But this was better. This was real love built on years of friendship, tested by honesty and courage, sustained by choosing each other every single day. The midnight surprise hadn't ruined everything like we'd feared. It had just revealed what was there all along, waiting for us to be brave enough to reach for it. And we were finally, wonderfully, we were.